Rudyard Kipling expressed an even more condemnatory attitude towards the interviewer. Whatever I said in the morning, you should remember and recall while I read the paragraph. His wife Caroline writes in her diary for 14th October 1892 that their day was wrecked by two reporters from Boston. She reports her husband as saying to the reporters, she reports what her husband says. So that is what her husband says. Why do I refuse to be interviewed? Because it is immoral. It is a crime, just as much of a crime as an offense against my person as an assault, and just as much merits punishment. It is cowardly and vile. No respectable man would ask it, much less give it. Yet Kipling had himself perpetrated such an assault on Mark Twain only a few years before. So till there we saw it. The next slide. So those are the people: H.G. Wells, Joseph Stalin. My class should not be disturbed by anything or anyone. Joseph Stalin, it is your footnotes, right? It is your footnote. Joseph Stalin was a Soviet leader who rose to power after Lenin's death. His brutal rule included industrialization, political purges, and World War II leadership. Then H.G. Wells was a British author known for pioneering science fiction. Science fiction is sci-fi. Science fiction with works like The War of the Worlds and The Time Machine, shaping the genre for generations. So these are the two important people. One is Stalin, another one is H.G. Wells. And this paragraph, first we are talking about H.G. Wells. In the morning, whom we talk about? First one, Naipaul. V.S. Naipaul. What V.S. Naipaul says? It is like wounding. People are wounded, and they also lost their part of something themselves. Second one is Carroll, Lewis Carroll. What Lewis Carroll says? It is horror for him, and in order to escape from the horror, what he said, what he did, he repelled neighbors, he repelled friends, interviewers, persistent petitioners of. So those things happened in the past paragraphs. And also Kipling. What Kipling says?
It is
Immoral, it is crime, it is an assault. All those things were mentioned by Kipling. Every point is very important. You will be asked in the 3-mark question, 2-mark question, what was told by Rudyard Kipling? So you have to answer the exactly what Kipling told, right? You shouldn't be confused with H.G. Wells and Rudyard Kipling. So here H.G. Wells, what he said? H.G. Wells in an interview in 1894 referred to the interviewing ordeal. What he mentioned interview as ordeal. What is meant by ordeal? What is meant by ordeal? Wasn't it written? It is a great difficulty. Oh, you were all not given the words. 17 words I gave. So he said it is the interviewing ordeal, but was a fairly frequent interviewee, and 40 years later found himself interviewing Joseph Stalin. According to H.G. Wells, what is interview? Interviewing is ordeal, right? And though he thought that it is an ordeal, he gave interviews. Who gave interviews? H.G. Wells. And also he took interview. H.G. Wells took interview of who? Joseph Stalin. Do you understand about H.G. Wells? The next one is Saul Bellow. Saul Bellow, who has consented. What is by consent? Permitted, accepting, right? Consented to be interviewed on several occasions. He accepts to give interview for several occasions. Nevertheless, once described interviews as being like, he accepts it, but he mentions interview as thumbprints on his windpipe. What did he mention? Thumbprints on his windpipe. What does it mean, thumbprints on his windpipe? What is it? The questions which was unable to be answered, right? Like that might be a reason, that might be one of the meanings, but what is exactly that thumbprints on your windpipe mentions? He is mentioning about the difficulty of answering, and there is a comparison. What was compared there? Windpipe is compared there. What is the importance of your windpipe? Through that only you are inhaling and exhaling. If your windpipe is crushed, if someone using their hand, if I am crushing this windpipe, what will happen? What will happen? That person will die. What will happen to that person? That person will die. See, I am having brown tone, right? He is a little rich tone than me. But English people are not like us. They'll be rich in color. They'll be fair in color. See, if the person who is fair in color, if they are pinched, do you know what will happen? What will happen? It will become reddish or pink, right? If such persons, if such person's throat is being crushed by some people, some other person, you may find their thumbprint on the windpipe. Thumbprint on the windpipe. What does it mean? What does it mean if someone's thumbprint on your windpipe? It means that you are trying to be murdered. That someone tried murdering you, right? That is the meaning of it. So according to Saul Bellow, though he gave many interviews, he mentions interview as a thumbprint on your windpipe. What does it mean? It means if you are consenting yourself to give interview, it means you are killing yourself. Did you understand? Did you understand the point? Next one. Yet despite the drawbacks of the interview. What are the drawbacks? What are the drawbacks? Many. Who are the person who gave drawbacks? B.S. Naipaul, Lewis Carroll, Rudyard Kipling, H.G. Wells, Saul Bellow. All of them give negative points. It is, though they have negative points, it is a supremely serviceable medium of communication. See, dear children, it might be very difficulty for the celebrities, but for the common people like you, what is the mode of communication? If you wanted to know about some celebrity, what you must do? Whom you must rely on? Rely on the interview. If you want to know something about them, you have to rely on the interview. Then only you may get something true. Or else if someone says about someone, it may not be true. You may not accept it. There will be no source of truth. So through interview, you can come to know many things. It is a, as they say, it is a supremely serviceable medium of communication. Did you understand? So that's it, first part, I think. That's it. So here, these days, this is the man, Dennis Brain. Dennis Brain. This man's name, Dennis Brain. Right? These days, listen the quotation. Listen the quotation. These days, more than at any other time. More than at any other time. Any other time of what? Any other time of what? Any time of the era. Right? In any other time of the world. At any other time, our most vivid impressions for our contemporaries, listen this carefully, vivid impressions of our contemporaries. What is meant by contemporary? The people who belong to our era, the one who is living with us, right? For example, if any of your friend has become a great scientist, if any of your friend become great scientist and you became great scientist, another scientist, you too will be called as contemporaries. You are the one who lived in the same era of the other scientist. Did you understand? So contemporary. So here what they say is vivid impressions of a contemporary through interviews, through which one we come to know the impressions of others. How do you know about actors? How do you know about actors? How do you know about actresses? Through what they talk about the others. How do you come to know what is the trait of actor Vijay? How do you come to know? Through interview. About Rajinikanth? Through interview. About the heroines? Through interview. See, apart from the interview, what do you know? Do you know the real characters of those heroes and heroines? Do you know the real characters of the players, football players or cricketers? We are celebrating Dhoni. Sachin, we are celebrating. Who know their life? Do we know their life? We don't know. We know a little thing. Right? We know a little thing about them through how? Through the interviews of them. Through the questions they were asked. Like that only we come to know who they are. So, if we become someone great, We are the contemporaries of Dhoni, Sachin, etc., etc. Right? So the point is, these days, listen, these days, more than any other time, our most vivid impressions of our contemporaries are through interviews. Dennis Brain has written. Dennis Brain had written. What was written? Almost everything of moment reaches us through one man asking questions of another. So that is what? One man asking questions of another means what? What is mentioned there? Interview is mentioned there. What is mentioned there? Interview. Are you all listening? Interview. Because of this, because of what? Because of interview, the interviewer hold a position of unprecedented power of influence. What is that unprecedented? Unmatched, unparalleled. There is no match for them, for the interviewer, because he might be the one who can ask any question to the celebrity. It might be your question, but you cannot ask them. Who alone can ask them? The interviewer. Did you understand? So that only they are having that high position, because through them only what was given to us, what we get through them, truth, or any questions of your answer, we get from interview. Did you understand till that? So first part is over. Now the second part. See, this is a very important one. What was told? Someone read it. Hey, what was Rotra? What was there? I am a professor who writes novels on Sundays. Okay. Do you know what is Sunday? Weekend. Do you know Christianity? Do you know Christianity? How many of you know Christianity? Everyone knows. Everyone knows Christianity. Okay. What is the relationship of Sunday and Christianity? Huh? Oh, they go to church in the morning and eat biryani in the afternoon. Then what? For the Christians, it is an important day. My question is why? They do pray. Yeah, Sunday, wa? They will always eat. Listen. According to Christianity, do we have any Christians here? Almost Christianity and Muslims are one. They are the children of God. Okay, listen. The world, according to Christianity, the world was created by God, right? And when it was created, it is not like this. It is full of mountains and valleys. So, in order to make it a fertile land, or in order to put it into good thing, they need to work. So what they did is, they start working from the first day. They start working from the first day. They continuously did 6 days of work. How many days? 6 days of work. And what God says is, 6th day you can work, and the 7th day must be the day for worship. not rest. It is a day for worship. So seventh day, actually it is the first day of week, but they call it as seventh day. The seventh day of the week must be for praying the God. So that only we have this concept, Sunday we have holiday. In order to go to church and pray, right? That is why Sunday is holiday. That is the concept. Because we were ruled by British. Because we were ruled by British for continuously 200 hours, 200 years. For 200 years, okay. Listen. More than, not just 200 years. We were ruled by British more than 200 years. So this is their concept of giving a free day for the working class people, for all. So the seventh day everyone should go to temple or church and they have to pray. So that is why Sunday is there. Now come to our era. Sunday. What do you do? What do you do? You eat and sleep. How many of you? All the girls. Okay, listen. காத்து நல்லா வருது. Thank you. So, it is the seventh day concept. So, what we do, what boys do, what do you do on Sunday? Hey, shut up. Are you him? Are you coming from his house? Then, is he coming from your house? Then what? I know he is going to talk. Hey, talk. Did you remember or did you aware that it is being recorded? Listen. So, it is a free day for everyone to worship God. That is the concept. See, this man here mentions, I am a professor. Do you know who is a professor? The one who works in college. He is not a professor. No. In order to become a professor, you must possess at least 20 years of experience. First, you have to join as an assistant professor. How you have to join? Assistant professor. And after some years of experience, you will become associate professor. And then only you will have that position, professor. Right? So, professor is not just, it will not just come to you in the first year of your joining a college as a teacher. So this professor, he said his occupation is professor, and he mentions, I write novels on Sundays. What does it mean, I write novels on Sundays? He works in what days? Free days. In free days only he works. He works on novels. All the other 6 days, what was he? Professor. On all the other days, what was he? Professor. Concise answer should come. You must understand what was asked. Listen, in your reading comprehension, it is very, very important what was the question asked and what should be the perfect answer. Do you know what is the perfect answer? They give all the 4 answers might be looking like perfect answer for you. You have to select. Among 4, only 1 is right. And it might be those 4 answers might be looking like the same answer. You have to work very hard, understand perfect, then only answer will come. You cannot say, Nano adda sonna. No. It will not be. Right? So here, I am a professor who writes novel on Sunday. Now, this is following excerpt. You know what is by excerpt? The extracted thing, right? A part of it, right? This excerpt from an interview of Umberto Eco. Umberto Eco, the interviewer is Mukund Padmanabhan. Who was the interviewer? Mukund Padmanabhan. Who was the interviewer? See, so far we come to know what is the positive side and negative side of interview. And we came to know that however negative it is, interview is indeed a source of what? Not truth, source of knowing someone, communication. Knowing someone, right? Source of knowing some other person, right? So here the interviewer, who is the interviewer here? Mukund Padmanabhan from the Hindu. The Hindu, what is the Hindu? Newspaper's name. So it is in the medium of words, not as a video. Umberto Eco, a professor at the University of Bologna. Where is University of Bologna? In Italy. In Italy, had already acquired a formidable reputation, a good reputation as a scholar for his ideas on semiotics. What is by semiotics? Study of signs. What is by study of sign? Sign means, see, if I say, what will happen? People will keep quiet in front of me, right? So, how do they know that it is the sign of keeping quiet? How do they know? Researching on that is called as semiotics. How do they say that this is a sign of keeping quiet? A study on that is called as semiotics. So semiotics, literary interpretation and medieval aesthetic before he turned to fiction writer. So before he write fiction, what are the other things he did? What are the other things he did? He was a scholar on semiotics and he wrote interpretations for literary works. You know what is by interpretation? Understanding it and writing something about it. Interpretation, right? Writing about it. And then medieval aesthetics. Do you know what is by aesthetics? What is aesthetics? Study of beauty. It's called as aesthetics, right? So medieval aesthetics before he turned to writing fiction. Literary fiction, hey, listen all of you. Aesthetics, not aesthetics. I am the teacher. Listen to my pronunciation. Aesthetics. Listen. Listen. Literary fiction, academic tests, essays, children's book, newspaper article. You just come to know what are the works he did so far. What are the works? What is the first work? What is mentioned there? Literary fiction, academic texts, essays, children's books, newspaper articles. In all these sectors, he works, he writes. His written output is, his written works is staggeringly large. Do you know what is meant by stagger? What is stagger? Did you ever listen to this word stagger? Unsteady of what? Stagger. We already come across stagger. Not moving. Walking. Where did we come across this word? Rat trap. In rat trap seller walked unsteadily, staggered. When? Do you know? When he was exhausted and when he listened to the sound of Ramjo's ironwork, he wake up, gathered his strength and walked staggeringly. Did you remember? Yeah, that is what here, staggeringly large and wide ranging. What is here mentioned as staggeringly large and wide? His writings. How can it be compared to writing? What does it mean staggeringly large? The list of his writings are long. You cannot just complete that within a minute. You cannot just say that without difficulty. If you started telling about the works of Umberto Eco, you have to read that or you have to say that with difficulty. That is what? Staggeringly large. Staggeringly large and wide ranging. Wide ranging means in many things he wrote. On many genres he wrote. He wrote about films, he wrote about fiction, he wrote about essays, he wrote about newspaper, he write in newspaper, he wrote about children, everything. In 1980, he acquired the equivalent of intellectual superstardom. What did he get in the year 1980? He became the superstar. He became what? He became the superstar with the publication of The Name of the Rose, which sold more than 10 million copies. How much million copies was sold? 10 million copies of The Name of the Rose was sold. How many of you saw The Name of the Rose? On that book exhibition I brought. Did you see that? I'll bring tomorrow. So, see, some 800 plus books are there. 800 plus books are there. I think 20 plus books I read. 20, that's it. That is also a great thing. That is a great thing, but the time will come to read. So, did you understand this paragraph? You read it louder.
The following is an extract from an interview of Umberto Eco. The interviewer is Padmanabhan from the Hindu. Umberto Eco, professor at the University of...
No. It is not from the Hindu. It is from the Hindu.
Professor at the University of Bologna in Italy had already acquired a
Formidable.
reputation as a scholar for his ideas on semiotics, the study of science, literary interpretation, and medieval aesthetics
Medieval.
before he turned to writing fiction.
Huh? 10 million copies. Sit.